This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
This table is really tilted.
Excuse me? Am I gonna get a chance to speak?
Maybe I should take that back.
Denied. Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Take a giant step for mankind.
Welcome to the Tilted Table with your hosts, Sean and Joe.
Folks, welcome to another episode of The Tilted Table, the internet's answer to a question that no one asked. I'm Sean Kabibi.
And I am Joey Joe, the Fraggy Mac.
And you can catch us on all major social media networks at The Tilted Table 1. Like, subscribe, ring bells, emails.
All the things.
Yeah.
Send us some conversation topics.
Yeah, actually, like I said, I said a couple weeks ago that I have emails, and I'm just stacking them up because it's not like we get a ton of emails. So I'm like, well, if we're going to talk about emails, which I perceive to be an episode, or at least half of an episode, I got to gather enough emails to be able to do that.
Ooh, I want to give a shout out to Carol. I got a nice note from her saying that she's been, she walks pretty much every day, and in her note, she said she listens to the Tilted Table podcast. And I was like, hey.
Whoa, there you go. Right on.
Shout out, Carol.
It's nice to know somebody out there.
Other than my mom and dad.
Yeah, working out to or walking. I don't know if walking to our lovely voices and honestly, our intriguing topics.
It's always something, man.
Yeah.
Always something.
So what's up with you?
You know, one of the things, and this doesn't necessarily need to be our topic for today, but I've been reflecting a lot on, like, as I get older, the things, and I know we talked about this in a Once Upon a Time podcast, and but I've got a couple buddies that, for whatever reason, they've really got into woodworking. Like that has become their raison d'etre, is woodworking, or building this crazy shop out in the garage. They no longer park their cars inside of their garage because they've got the lathes and the presses and all of that kind of stuff. Is there a time that you've ever wanted to get into something obscure like that, like building trains or Lego sets?
Well, I have a friend, Aaron, who does woodworking, and he's fucking damn good at it. He makes all kinds of shit. And so for me, I actually did something like this when I bought my first house. I did a lot of my own work on the house, so I got into using a lot of those types of pieces of equipment. And even before that, I did build my own poker table.
Oh, okay.
You've seen it downstairs.
Oh, you built that?
Oh God, I built that. Hell yeah, I built that.
I didn't know that. I thought that was something you bought.
Nope, I built that.
Okay.
I got into poker playing. Me and my friend Jason, we were going out to Vegas. We were playing in tournaments. So this would have been 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. And, it was during that whole, big poker craze where everybody was doing it. And, yeah, we did it for maybe 3 years. And what happened was, with me, is I got tired of the casino scene, big time. I just got sick of it. Hold on a second, take a drink of beer. That's right, folks. I am drinking live on air.
You're entitled.
I'm entitled.
You're not driving.
I'm not driving. So, after a couple years of doing it, I just got tired of the casino scene, but I still like playing. So I said, well, I'm going to buy a table. And, I went on various websites, and you can buy these tables. And there's cheap ones, but there's ones that were really expensive and really nice. And I wanted something that was like, at least close to being professional grade.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a really nice piece of furniture.
Yeah. So I found a couple, and they were, I can't remember the price, maybe $2,000 or something like that. And I was talking to somebody about this, and they're like, why don't you just build your own table? And I'm like, yeah, right. I don't, I'm not, do I look like I build fucking furniture? And he's like, no, man, they're really easy to build. He goes, you can go online. There's, YouTube videos, and there's, instructions. They're not that hard to build. So I went online, and yeah, they're super easy to build. And I went down to Home Depot and bought the wood. And you only really need a couple of, like, a jigsaw. You don't need, like, a bunch of equipment. And yeah, I built my poker table. Now, the only thing I did buy was the stand. How about that? So
Did you list on your resume under skills and accomplishments that you've actually built your own poker table?
no, I have not. And that table is actually kind of cool because I put an automatic card shuffler in it, which was a whole nother journey. So you go to casino, they have the automatic shufflers, and I wanted to buy one, but there's only one you can buy on the open market, and it's not one that you would find in a casino.
Seriously?
You mount it into your table, so it acts just like it's an automatic card shuffler.
Okay.
But it's not a professional grade one. You can't buy professional grade
Why?
because they're regulated. So they don't want people. Well, what I'm finding in hindsight is that this is how it works in a casino, and people may or may not know this. I didn't know this, and I found it fascinating. So when you go to a casino and you go to a poker table, or it doesn't matter, it could be a blackjack, whatever, when they have those automatic card shufflers, the casinos don't own those. That's a completely separate company. And,
Oh, really?
And that
I didn't know
company, that company comes out and they install them, and then they maintain them, and then they replace them every so often. And that's to keep the casino legit. So they can't manipulate anything. So part of the gaming regulations is that they can't deal with any of the shufflers. They have an independent company that supplies
That makes
them.
sense.
So I'm like, okay, so who cares? Where's the independent company? I just want to buy one for my home table. Like, nope, because they don't want people buying them and being able to dismantle them and figure out how they work so that they can fuck with them and, like, I guess at some point maybe do some illegal shit. And I'm like, really? How often does that happen? Then I found a story about a guy. This is back in, I think, in the 80s. And this is when these regulations, I think, kind of took place when Vegas was getting enough heat. And they're like, okay, we have to have more independent entities doing things so that not one thing, one group is doing everything because they can, again, manipulate how something works. So this guy was a down and out gambler, just a complete loser, lost all of his fucking money. And apparently he goes down to a casino, and again, this is like, I think, the late 70s or early 80s, and there was some kind of, I don't know, contest, tournament, a slot thing or whatever, and he's playing this, this tournament, and he wins, and he got a bunch of money for it, but one of the, part of that grand prize winning was he got the actual machine. So he could take this machine home. So he got to take the machine home. And of course, casinos are thinking at that point, it's just, hey, you won. And
Just a card shuffler.
Yeah, no, this is a slot machine.
Oh, slot machine.
Yeah,
okay.
slot machine. So he takes this thing home, and being the brilliant man he is and the degenerate gambler he is, what he decided to do was dismantle the slot machine. And he figured out how it worked. Then he started going to the casino and just started raking money out of the machine because he figured out how to manipulate it to make it do certain things so it would pay out.
Okay.
And again, this is the late 70s, early 80s. That obviously would be almost impossible today,
Right.
Because it's all digital and whatnot. But back in that day, I guess you could, I don't know what it would be, like the way you pull the handle. I can't remember how he did it, but he figured out how the machine worked, and he could figure out like when it was going to pay out and things like that.
Interesting.
So
The one thing about a hit on payout, I learned earlier this week. Did you know there's more money in the card game Magic: The Gathering than there is in the World Series of Poker?
that doesn't surprise me at all.
It was
a big game.
It was the number was absolutely staggering. I don't recall what it was off the top of my head, but it was like a 7 times figure of the World Series of Poker.
It doesn't surprise me because I'm familiar with the World Series of Poker, and at its peak, I think it had, every year it would have like 7,000 or 8,000 people, but that was for a short period of time. It's dwindled down big time. I mean, the original World Series of Poker before Chris Moneymaker, he's the one that made it popular, and I don't know if you know.
No, I don't know anything about him.
So this has been going on for decades, this World Series of Poker, but it's poker and it's not mainstream. And so when the internet gets invented, they have online, gambling, and now it reaches out a little bit further. And a guy named Chris Moneymaker, I think he was like a broke college kid or something. He entered an online poker tournament, and if you won this tournament, they paid for you to go into the World Series of Poker, the main event. So he does this. He wins the tournament. He goes to the World Series of Poker's main event. And again, he's not a professional poker player. He's some dude. I think at this point he'd only been playing poker for a year or so.
Okay.
He ends up winning the entire thing. He becomes super famous, and then everybody learns that every year in Vegas they have this World Series of Poker elimination thing, and it just blows up. And everybody and their fucking brother became a professional poker player. And at its peak, I think they would have like 8,000 or 9,000 people competing in it. But prior to that, they had less than 1,000.
Okay.
So, but now I don't know what it is now. You could probably look it up. But I bet you the main event doesn't get more than about 2,000 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's died. It was there, and it had its peak, and now it's kind of going back to the way it was, I think.
Well, speaking of Magic the Gathering, like, were you ever into any of that World of Warcraft or Dungeons and Dragons or any of those kind of games?
When I was a kid, I played Dungeons and Dragons a handful of times. Never got into it.
Would if you need to make some money on the side, do you think you would play the role of Dungeon Master and like narrate the game for some people?
Do people get paid to do that?
Yeah, I actually have a friend, Matt, and shout out Matt if you're listening to this. And that is his side hustle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in construction, but he grew up playing D&D, and that was one of his main things. And he's really good at like different voices and narrating and all that kind of stuff. And so when people will have matches or games or whatever it is, they hire him to come in and be their dungeon master for the evening.
Is that like private games, or is that like he would go to an actual official like D&D tournament and be a dungeon master?
I know it's definitely the former. I'm not sure about the latter. Wouldn't surprise me. That guy's like a jack of all trades.
Yeah. Well, I know that they have the whole Magic tournaments. The big dog ones. A lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that didn't surprise me. I'm sure they obviously have to have people be dungeon masters. I would assume you could. I don't know how you would get that job and you apply for it or whatever.
Well, see, I thought you were going to say yes, and that you're like an elf mage level 37 or something like that.
Nah, I never got into that kind of stuff. I think, again, when I was a kid, I had a group of friends that played it, and I played it a handful of times, and it didn't really gel with me. I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't something I got into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you talk about those RPG style games, Zelda. Yeah, I mean, I remember playing that when I got that for Christmas. I think it was like in the 7th grade or something, and I just played that shit. And I mean, I don't think I left until I finished the game. Like, it was just sitting there for hours and hours.
Yeah. Well, what's amazing is I don't know how long they're going to be around, but when you drive around, like, I'm sure any town, and in these strip malls, there's gaming places, and when you look through the windows, it's just like a bunch of card tables.
Yeah.
And usually they're not open until like 7 or whatever, but you can drive by there like 10:30 at night, and it's packed with these people that are, I don't know what they're playing in there. But during the day when I would see just the lights are all off, nobody's there, and I'm like, how do they pay their rent? Right? And then a couple hours later,
I was sitting at a poker table and asked that same damn question.
Yeah, I'd see like all these people, and they're like, A, what are they playing? And B, like, how much do you have to pay to go in there and play Pokemon or whatever it is that they're playing?
Yeah.
One of the games I would love to get into, Cookie said no, so I only stick with the books and whatever is on YouTube that I can find. And you and I have talked about this just a little bit, but I love me some Warhammer.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. You've talked about it. I know what I know is what you've talked about.
It is outstanding. It's funny. I'll be, sitting on the bed reading a book. I got all the cats piled around me, and I'll like literally sweat through my shirts reading the books because the writing is. Shout out Dan Abnett. He's my favorite so far. The writing is actually just first class, and it's like watching a movie in my brain type of a thing.
Okay.
So
yeah,
definitely get on some Warhammer, man.
It's fantasy shit, right? I'm just not into that stuff.
What?
I'm not. And I think I've said this before, as a writer, it's the most popular genre of books. I mean, everyone's writing fucking fantasy. It's baffling to me because I'm not going to shit on fantasy. I just don't care for it.
Do you own any cosplay stuff or like go to Comic-Con dressed up as a character?
No, but I'll tell you this though, I would do Comic-Con because a lot of that stuff I grew up on. I like that a lot of the stuff that's from Comic-Con, but even stuff like I've seen like the Breaking Bad. It covers a wide range of universes and so I would totally be into it. Now, would I dress like somebody? Sure. I don't know who I would, but I think if I did go to a Comic-Con, I think I'd want to dress as somebody. I think I'd just go there in your clothes, like regular. Like, what fun would that be?
Would you dress up like Jesse or Walt from Breaking Bad?
I don't know. I think I would go
Like a hazmat suit.
I think I would do something different. I think if I were to go to Comic-Con, and I'm going to hold to this. I think I would go out and buy a blonde afro wig and get the Greatest American Hero outfit. That's where I would go at.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
I think I'm that kind of person where I would want to choose something a little obscure. So I would definitely probably, that would be what comes to mind, that would be like the first thing that comes to mind is the Greatest American Hero. That would be great.
Great show.
Yeah, so they look fun. I mean, every time I see clips on, Instagram or whatever, YouTube, it looks like fun, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm not into the shit to that level, and whatever it could be, if it's fantasy shit, like it's just something I just not drawn to. Never have been. I mean, I read Tolkien, of course. I think everybody's read Tolkien, and it's good. Lord of the Rings is great, and I mean it's like the Holy Grail in a lot of ways of fantasy writing, but it didn't grab me like it's grabbed other people. I thought it was good. That's about where I leave it.
People get wild on their Comic-Con cosplay type stuff. Like, I have a really good friend that for his kids, like he has a full-on commercial grade 3D printer. He'll start, they'll start working like months ahead of time to actually 3D print out like suits of armor and axes and weaponry and all that kind of stuff.
That's wild. When I was a kid, when my dad was making movies, he worked with this guy, and that guy was like maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. Man, maybe a little bit older than that. I'd say 10. And this guy's name was Jeffrey. He was probably early 20s, maybe mid 20s, and he made his own armor. His dad had a shop. I don't know what his dad did, but he had just the equipment, and he'd make chainmail and fucking swords and full suits of armor. And he was good at it, and he was a really good artist. Like he, would draw and paint. He was a phenomenal artist. And when my dad did a short adaptation of a book. I've never read the book, and I don't know that much about it. It's called A Canticle for Leibowitz. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
And as I understand it, at least the premise is the last man on Earth. And so he did a short adaptation of this. And of course, his vision of the apocalyptic world in 1985 is people are wearing, old school medieval type shit.
Oh, dude, that's totally a case of dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
Right. So I'm familiar with, that idea of like building those kinds of costumes. And I got a funny story. So when my dad would film anything or make any kind of movie, if he needed a kid, he would use me because I was the only one of the kids that was willing to do this shit. And I get in hindsight, the way it was to me was it was like I didn't see it as like I'm in a movie or I'm supposed to memorize lines and act. It was playing make believe with my dad, and this was super fun, right? So part of this short adaptation is the last man on Earth is going to be killed. But to be, to the discovery at the end is he's not the last man on Earth. And the idea I think my dad was trying to get across was that, the man walking the earth thinking he's the last man on Earth. In reality, he's probably not. And there's probably a lot more people. He just hasn't ran into him yet, right? So to bookend the story, the last man on Earth has to be killed by another living person. But it's best if it's a kid because it represents that, new,
the up and comers.
Yeah, the up and comers. So he's like, okay, cool. And I had no lines in this. I'm supposed to simply appear from around something and kill him with a sword, right? And so we ended up going. I can't remember where this was. It was somewhere in Michigan, and it was up in the hills. So it's foresty, and there was this old, dilapidated like water tower. So it was like half busted up, falling down. Rubble all around it, and he's just like, oh, this is perfect. And so he's just like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna, you're gonna stand behind the water tower, and when I say action, you're gonna peer around the side, and then you're gonna run over to Jeff, and you're gonna, whack him with the sword. And these are legit fucking like swords and chainmail I'm wearing, right? Right? So they suit me up in this shit. Mind you, I'm 10 years old, right? So they put chainmail on me, and I got like, I don't even know how to describe like the robe or that, that medieval, stuff. So they're putting all this
like
shit
a tunic.
Yeah. So I'm all geared up. and they hand me this sword. And again, Jeffrey made this sword. And like I said, the dude made legit shit, right? So my dad, he stabs the sword into the ground, and he's okay, cool. Get set up. He goes, when I say action, take the sword, raise it above your head, and look around the corner, and then run, and then you're gonna kill him. And I'm like, cool. So my dad's like, action. I'll never forget this. I pull this sword, to bring it up. Fucking cannot lift this thing. Must weigh 50 pounds. Right?
Yes. It's a broadsword, not a samurai sword.
Oh, it was hilarious. Oh my God. My dad never even considered that the weight of this thing might be too much for a 10-year-old kid to be able to pick up. So I try to pick it up. I can't get it up much above like my stomach, chest area. I just can't pick it up. And he's like, cut. He's like, shit. I go, it's too heavy. And my dad grabbed it, and he's like, fuck, I didn't think about this. And he's like, okay, so what are we going to do? And, there was a conversation amongst the people trying to figure out, like, well, there's a different way. Does he have to pull it over his head? And he's like, well, he's going to have to, act like he's swinging it. He's going to have to use it. And so we got to figure out how to do that. And it's like, well, let's solve the first problem. How we get it above his head. And my dad, they took a fishing line string, and they tied it at the very tip of it. And he had another guy take a pole and stand with his. This is low budget, by the way, right? Okay. This is great. Hold the pole, over his head. They ran the string line over the pole. And they had, I don't know if it was my dad or somebody else, and they used the poles that, the leverage part where if you pulled on it, it would help me pull it up.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how they shot the scene.
Can you see the string?
No, you can't see the string. It's not fishing line. There's a certain kind of string that movies use that it's nearly impossible to catch on camera.
Okay.
So the guy's holding. Again, he doesn't have anything. He just had this guy. I think it was Ray. There was a young guy that my dad worked with, and he was probably like 6'4", so he was a really tall dude. And his hands straight up in the air, and holding like a broomstick basically. And they run the line over that broomstick, and my dad's on the other side pulling on it. So when I raise the sword, it can go. Oh, it can help me pull it over my head. So I get it over my head, and I look around the corner, and my dad's like, "Cut!" And he's like, "All right, now we got to figure out how to get you to run with this thing." Right? And there's no way you're doing this. I can't run with this fucking sword above my head, or even.
It's bigger than you are.
Yeah, it's bigger than me. So they gave me a broomstick, and I covered that part with my hands, and they got like an extreme close up of my face and me just running, and you see these two hands. They did their best to make sure that none of the broomstick got the shot, and then it's so cheesy. You just see like Jeffrey turn around, and it's his face. And supposedly, there's a sword being swung at him. You don't never see the sword until they do the long shot where Jeffrey's on the ground and I'm holding the sword like a couple inches above the ground, like I just whacked him with it. Editing works, man. You couldn't tell when we watched the premiere. It looked legit. Like, oh yeah, he had the sword in his hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Leave a like on the video. I know you're enjoying this. Can you shut up?
The internet's answer to a question that was never asked. The Tilted Table with Sean and Joe.
Was it straight to Betamax?
My dad, what he did with these things is he would film these shorts, and so my dad went to UCLA film school. And so they would have all these, premieres. So all the student films would be premiered. And then beyond that, you could take them to film festivals. My dad went to a bunch of different film festivals with a bunch of different movies that he made, but he never got any kind of bites on anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it never amounted to much of anything.
I figured you were going to come out of left field and say, like, ask me if I've watched, like, Little Shop of Horrors number 17 or something.
No. Yeah. It's stuff that didn't get beyond, showing it at a film festival, stuff like that. No. Yeah. They don't even have that stuff in. Excuse me. They don't even have that stuff anymore. At all? Nope. That's a whole nother story I don't want to get into.
Do you have any so one of the things that I've been playing around a lot with this week, speaking on being creative, is have you played with Grok's Imagine new feature?
I've never fucked with Grok.
Oh man, it is.
I've only screwed with ChatGPT, and I've been meaning to get on to Grok and fuck with it. I just never have.
It's great, man. So basically it will take. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, but you can take just a still photograph
Mm-hmm.
and you'll add it in there, and it'll create like a 6-second video out of this still photograph.
Mm-hmm.
And you can either let Grok just do its thing and quote imagine what that might look like, or you can actually prompt it. So 2 examples. I have never seen any video of my parents or grandparents from like the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, it wasn't a thing. Camcorders are super expensive, and our family didn't have that kind of money. So I took a photo of my dad right when he got back from being in the Navy during Vietnam, and it's just again, it's like a side profile picture, and it actually created this video of my dad kind of turning around and looking.
Oh yeah.
It was so realistic. I sent it to my parents via text, and my dad's like, "How in the world did you get your hands on this video?" Like, he
doesn't know. Yeah,
he thought that was actually real footage. Or, when you upload this still photograph, you can tell it. Like, I have a buddy Eric and I went to lunch, and we took a picture right in the parking lot. So I put this into Grok's Imagine, and then I said, please have the 2 guys in the photo act out a fighting scene like from The Matrix against ninjas. So you just add in the prompts.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, it created this absolutely hysterical video. And it doesn't look like real, like like actual like full production value, but it's so good that when I sent it to a couple of people, they're like, "How in the world did you do that?"
That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I encourage all of our 17 listeners out there to definitely get your hands on it, because it's so cool to see my grandparents when they were young and smiling and laughing, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
it was really special.
Yeah, I gotta mess with that. I've seen a bunch of videos, on Reels, and the tag I keep seeing is Sora, and it's just all AI generated videos, and it's like a lot. I mean, there's some of them are kind of goofy. A lot of the ones I'm seeing is like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah, with Tupac.
Yeah, shit like that. But the other one was Mr. Rogers and a variety of like Tupac and others in wrestling. They put him in the wrestling ring.
Oh, it's Stephen Hawking.
And well, I've seen the Stephen Hawking ones, but this is like, it's not them actually physically wrestling. It's all the promo stuff. So you see like Mr. Rogers get in the ring and he's talking shit to Kurt Cobain, and Kurt Cobain, is talking shit back. It's entertaining.
Well, I think one of the ones I might have even sent to you, it was like Mr. Rogers in the living room. It was him and Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, when you sent that one, because I sent one with Mr. Rogers and Eazy-E to friends of mine, and the reason I sent it and I thought was so funny was not what they said. It's a D's nuts joke, but the fact that Mr. Rogers and Eazy-E are in Mr. Rogers' house, and Mr. Rogers has got a half empty 40 in his hand, and he's just like, the whole Mr. Rogers voice is just like, did you see, something about Bofa? And he's like, Bofa D's nuts on your chin. Like some shit like that. I think it's funny.
That AI is getting like unhinged and wild. And when I showed Cookie she was like, "What are you doing over there on the couch?" And I showed her what I was doing with these old photos. And when I turned my phone around so she could see it, I was like, the future is now, man. This is bananas.
Yeah. The biggest problem I have with it is that at some point it's just going to be social media and Reels are just going to be saturated with these kinds of videos. And I think initially I was concerned, like, you're going to create something and people are going to think it's real. That is a concern of mine, but I'm just getting to the point now where it's like, what's the value if all we're watching are AI generated videos of things like, Eazy-E and Mr. Rogers hanging out. I just saw one where a cop arrests a cat. And the cat's like up against the wall. He's like wearing a hoodie, and the cop's searching him, and they're like, "Okay, got catnip on you. I knew this is what And it's all AI. I get it. It's, I guess, cute, but if everything becomes that, then what's the value of watching this? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to articulate why it bothers me. It's just like, so what's the value if all these reels are going to be phony? Like, I just saw one where it's a guy gets pulled over by a cop, and it's completely AI. But you could have done this with regular actors as well. And so he's like, "How much have you had to drink tonight?" And so wait a second, he's not in the car. He's outside of the car, and there's a wreck. And so obviously there's an accident. and he's talking to the guy, and he's just like, so how much did you have to drink tonight? And he's like, oh, I had 7 Guinnesses, 5 glasses of wine, and 11 shots of tequila. And the cop's like, and you still let your wife drive, or something like that.
Well,
it was all AI, and I thought that was weird. It's like, this is like, why would you AI this? I mean, it's easy. Well, you don't have to hire anybody. You don't have to actually shoot this scene.
For sure. I think it's going to be great in opening up just from an entertainment value. And I'll just use myself. It's like I can have ideas in my head on what I think would be like either cool or funny or interesting, all these things. But it's, I don't have like your talent of being able to actually play the music. But I can certainly articulate what I'm looking for, and to have those AI type of tools that will make, like, say, feature length films, and I can come up with the ideas and coach it and create it and design it.
Yeah.
I don't need to hire a music or an actual movie production company or any of that kind of stuff. I agree
100%. I've had so many ideas over my lifetime, especially with dealing with like film. And I think because, I was raised around that kind of stuff, I was never drawn to it to the level where it was like, I want to write a script and shoot a movie, but I've always wanted to do something like that. I remember telling my dad once that it would be super cool if I could shoot one episode of a sitcom, because I love sitcoms growing up. And, I'm sure part of me had a dream is that I wanted to be on the show Cheers. I wanted to be on the show Three's Company, right? That kind of thing. And so I've always had this fascination with sitcoms. And I remember telling my dad that it would be super easy. It was just during a time period. Obviously now we have digital cameras. It was super easy to film this stuff. But I remember my dad's like, well, why don't you do it? It's 20 minutes. It's a half hour. You can cook up a script and you can shoot a sitcom episode, just create something. And I was in my head thinking like, yeah, I could do it. But again, it's a lot of work. First, I'd have to coax my friends or people that I know, to act. Like we got to do that.
And also like have talent and all that.
Yeah,
build the backdrops. On and on and on and on.
So yeah, right now you can easily put that together. The other thing I've always wanted to do, and I was a big fan of cartoons growing up, and I thought about it at least a dozen times, where I actually went on the internet and looked up like animation software, like how you create your own animation, and I wanted to make my own cartoon. And now, I could probably do that, and just simply coming up with a basic, if I wanted to do like a Looney Tunes short, like a 5-minute short, I could just type in and they would just create it for me.
One of my favorite real quick cartoons, we'll take a very brief detour. Do you remember that movie Cool World?
Terrible film, but yes.
Well, I wasn't saying it was amazing, but it was on the same vein as like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, that's why they made it. Roger Rabbit was a hit, so why don't we do Cool World?
Yeah, with Brad Pitt and do you remember the name of the chick?
Hollywood. Hollywood, if she could. Yeah, I had some kind of promotional. I think it was like a magazine, a cut. It was a page of a magazine. It was for promotion for the movie, and I had it, I think, hanging on my wall when I was a teenager.
Oh,
basically, you're a teenager. I'm putting all these band posters and anything I thought that looked cool, and that was one. I'm like, oh, this is a cool little thing. I want to put it up there.
The marketing material for that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
I would say as a kid, I definitely had a crush on Hollywood, her and Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, I didn't. My brother got a tattoo of Jessica Rabbit on his arm. He was obsessed with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So when he turned 18, he got it. That was, I think, his second tattoo on his arm. And Jessica Rabbit.
Was it big?
Yeah, I mean, it was on, covered a top part of his arm. Yeah, I'd say, 7 inches long or whatever it would be. It was big, yeah.
That was a great film. Well, going back to there's another new piece of software. I have a friend, shout out Eric if you're listening, who's been building his own actual AI model.
Okay.
He's been working on this for literally all day, every day, 6 days a week. He's got a supercomputer in his office. Like it's really, really cool. And actually he worked out all the kinks as of, I think, yesterday. And one of the things he was telling me about is there's also like a module that you can add into the AI that he's developed to actually make video games.
Okay.
To where, kind of like with this Grok's Imagine deal, that it'll take a still photograph and turn it into a video.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You'll basically outline the idea of the game and maybe a couple characters and the setting and kind of like the general things that you're looking for. and it'll actually create the game itself.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was, in going and thinking of bringing creativity to the masses. Like everybody has a basic idea. Like, can we combine like Templar Knights and ninjas and Star Wars and do all those things and then actually have the software create what's in our brain? I think that's pretty slick, man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when that stuff becomes just that readily available to everybody. I think we got one of two results are going to happen. It'll stay the same technically, where the cream of the crop will rise up and things will become popular. And you can say, "Oh, I created this video game." Say it becomes massively popular. I just didn't create it the way like Rockstar video games would create it, coding and all that kind of shit, right?
Right.
Or it's going to be so saturated that nothing ever catches on to anything, and it's just we have a million things coming at you, and nothing is universally popular anymore. Nothing is universally known. Does that make sense?
It 100% does. And it's funny, right before you and I started getting on the microphone here, and I said I was listening to, like, there's a lot of, I don't know if it's a program that where you can take an artist and run it through AI and have it do a current song in the genre of something totally different. And the example was Marilyn Manson's Beautiful People, but like the 1950s soul version of that song. And I was listening to it earlier today and I was like, man, this is so good. I'm going to go check out some more like soul artists. So I think it's going to take a lot of people kind of back to the way things used to be, and get people reinterested in certain eras of music, like Nickelback in the version of a 1970s like R&B type of band.
Yeah, well, it can't be worse than Nickelback, the
regular
actual band.
right.
You shit out so much.
It's like, what a time to be alive.
Yeah. Well, are you familiar with Tilly Norwood?
No.
Oh, what? How are you deep into this AI thing and you don't know who she is? And I'm so out of the loop, but yet I know who she is.
I don't know. I've never even heard the name.
Okay, so she is an AI generated actress, and she just got signed to some agent, and she's going to start doing films, I guess. I'm sure she's already done some kind of short films, and I've never seen any of her work, but she's completely AI generated.
Tilly Norwood.
Yeah, and she's got a massive following on social media, and Amy Poehler, she hosted Saturday Night Live last week, and she, I guess, was talking mad shit about, in her monologue, just roasting the Tilly. I think her name is Tilly. It's not Lily. It's Tilly.
No, you're right. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Tilly.
So, yeah, she just signed she's not real. Whoever programmed her, I guess, signed some kind of contract with an agent. And a lot of people, I guess, are kind of concerned about, what are you going to have, just AI actors and actresses? And I'm like, well, Hollywood's losing money at just massive amounts. They're falling apart. And, if they want to continue to do what they do, which they do, I don't see why they wouldn't start using AI actors. They're probably a lot cheaper than, having Tom Cruise do it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you're not like coming up with creative differences with the director or anything else. Like, no, this is what my vision is, and I need character X to execute that.
Yeah, and the thing is, the one reason it would never actually happen is because, what are you going to do? You can't, legally, I mean, I don't know what the laws are, but you can't create Tom Cruise and do a Mission Impossible film. Tom Cruise would obviously sue you for using his likeness. So the only other option you would have is to create original actors and actresses that are AI generated and make them famous so that you want to go see a Tilly Norwood film. I think that's the only route they have, and I think this is the first attempt at, can you create an AI actress or actor and actually make them famous just like as if they're a real person, and then now we can make films with this AI actor or actress and then sell it like we would sell a Tom Cruise film.
I think so. I think really the production house is probably going to become like Village Roadshow Pictures. You'd be like, oh man, that production studio is fantastic. I'm going to watch whatever movies they have coming out. So yeah. I think the actress thing is interesting, but I think the writers and the ideas that are coming out of that house, that's going to be where it's at.
Yeah. I agree.
I dig it, man. Is that going to be the next part of your and my professional career? We're going to be like content idea people.
I would love to start fucking around with like creating AI shorts or sitcoms, animation, something. I'm definitely interested because as busy as I am with my writing, which I do not use any AI for, it would be cool to be able to say like, yeah, I just would love to, I got an idea in my head and I want to crank it out, and I just don't have the time to do it. That it would be fun to be able to just, throw some AI, together and pump it out. Again, for just my own enjoyment, show it to my friends like, hey, look, this is what I did.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, because I don't have the time or the motivation to dabble in those things to the level that would need to be done to create it. So if AI could create it for me, I would be down to fuck around with it.
The future is now, man.
I have an important announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Yo, that's some next level shit, bruh.
So you got me. Big deal.
The internet's answer to a question no one asked. The Tilted Table with Sean and Joe.
Folks, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Tilted Table, the internet's answer to a question that no one asked. I am Sean Kabibi.
And I am Joey Joe with a Fracky Mac.
And this outro is completely original, human, no AI.
No AI at all. This is my 1-900 number voice. Call me now. Peace.